So this morning I woke up and I had this text message from my brother of another crazy idea that he had. And this time he actually was like, bro, what if we launched a interactive dog fetch machine for Walter? So what makes this idea crazy is that he wants this fetch machine to basically be demand controlled, meaning in order for the ball to actually shoot out, Walter would actually have to do something. So it helps with training and it'll help with fitness. But for instance, it might be like, hey, Walter, sit down, and then the ball comes out. So I thought this idea was crazy and I didn't know exactly where to start, but I was like, this could actually work out. And then I realized that I was actually introduced to a new tool called Accio, and Accio has a new feature called business research, which will allow you to validate these crazy ideas. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna go ahead and use this tool and bring this crazy idea to life. What we're gonna do is we're gonna build a business plan. We're gonna come up with everything when it comes to the brand itself. And we're also gonna start talking about potential other products that we can actually go and launch within it. Now, Accio is the world's first AI-powered B2B sourcing agent, leveraging deep industry expertise and AI to accurately interpret your needs and connect you with verified suppliers. Now, with the business research tool that Brian and I were talking about, we can actually go as far as transforming these crazy business ideas that Brian always comes to me with into actionable, data-backed analysis, including things like market trends, pricing strategy, going as far as a business plan, coming up with brand names, and of course, taking the product ideas that we found and connecting us with actual suppliers that can actually meet our needs. Now, it does all this by basically automating all of that market research for us. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is I'm actually gonna dive into Accio's tool and use the business research tool and show you how I would take this crazy idea of this interactive fetch machine that Brian came up with. I'm gonna build a business plan. I'm also gonna build a potential product line that we can then go and scale this brand with. And then from there, I'm gonna actually create a kickoff plan on how we can get started with this crazy idea. All right, guys, so here we are. We are inside of Accio now. As you can see, looks super user-friendly. One thing I will say is that you are, of course, gonna need an account, and you're gonna actually connect your Alibaba account to be able to get started with this to make it that much easier. Now, the first thing I'd recommend is actually clicking the link down below, because if you click the link down below, we're gonna actually be selecting 10 people where we're gonna be whitelisting and creating an account for you where you're gonna get unlimited searches, because you are bound to a certain amount of searches with the standard free account that you can sign up with. So make sure to click the link down below, and we're gonna be granting access to 10 people where you guys can get that bonus. So let's go ahead and just dive into this and kind of see a little bit more about this tool. So of course they have our product search feature. Now I've used Accio in the past before, and basically this would allow us to find suppliers for specific products. They have the deep search feature, which will allow us to now actually source complex requirements. And we will absolutely be posting content on how to use the deep search feature very, very soon. And the one we're gonna be using today to create this crazy plan that Brian came up with is business research, which is this tool right here. So think about Accio as ChatGPT, but specifically for sourcing. So not only do we have the ability to actually find suppliers, come up with ideas, build business plans, but it's also going to connect us with tons of different suppliers that we can actually go and take products that we found and find specific suppliers that can meet those demands. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're actually gonna talk about building the brand. I think this is the first thing that we always need to, as people with crazy ideas come up with. Brian has these all of the time. We need to figure out a way of how to bring this brand to life. So I put together a prompt here. I'm gonna show you this prompt. I'm looking to build a pet brand by selling an interactive fetch machine, a more advanced fetch machine that shoots. So again, I'm kind of giving it a little bit of input here. What I wanted to do is actually come up with a company slogan, design our 3 company values, and then outline our target market and design 3 target personas for the brand. I'm actually gonna go ahead and please also come up with a brand name and include something to do with Walter, which is Brian's dog, which is, let's say, our dog's name. So as you can see here, it's gonna now start doing the research for us. It's gonna start diving in. You'll start to effectively see everything that it's outputting. So right now, as this is computing, what Accio and business research is actually doing is it's searching the web, finding specific things that are gonna be useful for us in our analysis, looking at market trends, looking at different industry websites to be able to come up with decisions on the question that I asked it, which was basically to build that brand for me, coming up with the slogan, the brand name, and then from there, we're actually gonna select the brand name and then use it into our queries as we continue to build this brand for Brian. All right, so it went ahead and it gave me everything that I was looking for, as you can kind of see here. There's a bunch. We have number one, a brand name incorporating Walter. So Walter Fetch Orbit. Now, you don't necessarily need to stop here, but for the sake of not keeping you guys on here, I could actually ask it to come up with 5 more brand names if I wanted to. You know what? Let's go ahead and do that. So as you can see here, we can use this as an opportunity to talk back to the AI, and it's going to give us more options. So we have Walter Whirl, we have Fetch Fusion by Walter, we have Walter Pause IQ. I think that's kind of cool. We have Walter Zoom Nova. That's actually really interesting because Nova is actually Walter's sister's name. And then we have Bolt and Walter Co, right? So effectively, we have the opportunity now to pick one of these to move forward with. Now, as we kind of go back up, you can see that the thread is still continuing to be here, and we can actually look at all the things that it's identified for us. So number one, our company slogan. I thought this was brilliant. Unleash genius playtime. Our company values, innovation first, positive bonding. How cool is that? It's actually using pause in this to come up with one of our slogans. And then sustainable joy. Again, if I didn't agree with these company values, or maybe I wanted to see 5 more, I could ask it to give me 5 more different company values. But at this point, I'm basically validating like, okay, there's a market for this. There's some cool ways of how we can bring this idea to life. I think this company's slogan is amazing. Here's our primary target audience, tech-savvy dog owners. I think that's exactly who would be looking for, who value smart home gadgets and pet enrichment. High energy breeds, absolutely. Labradors, like I had mentioned, my dog Stella, she's an Airedale Terrier. They have tons of energy. So for me, I'm definitely in this kind of, secondary audience, but I also hit a lot of the primary audience as well. And then of course, target personas. For those who don't know what a target persona is, target personas are ultimately, when we start building content, when we start creating our product, we want to think of the people that would be buying our product. So, we have Alex Carter, the tech enthusiast, age 32, occupation, a software developer. Some of the pain points that they have is wants to mentally stimulate his Australian Shepherd while working remotely, right? That's a massive pain point for us to solve. And again, of course, there's a lot of different options for us to kind of go after. And then diving into some of the competitive edge features. So smart features, customization. And then here are some ideas for other products. We have the interactive fetch machine. There's a smart dog puzzle toy. Maybe there's something that we can do with the technology that we're going to be building for the fetch machine that is incorporated into this dog puzzle. An adjustable ball launcher. Again, a voice activated pet toy. There's a lot of cool things that we can do here. So now that I know that I want to actually use, I think Bolt and Walter Co. I have my slogan. I know that, okay, this is the baseline. This is the foundation to my brand. So what I'm now going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and actually start building a business plan for this idea, right? So I put together this prompt. I'm actually going to say that I'm going to use the brand name Bolt Walter and Co. Walter Co. And again, because I am okay with the company value, the slogan, I'm going to continue and just leave this as is. So can you please build a 6-month go-to-market strategy for this product, along with a business plan that includes potential sales projections, potential hires I will need to make, and market trends and research that will be useful for the business. A reminder that we are launching an interactive ball launch machine. The product should include an app that should require minimal development, but the core of the business would be selling physical products in the early launch. Back when I started my businesses, we didn't have anything like this to be able to come up with our business plan. We didn't have AI, right? So the ability to now have a platform that can help us come up with everything from the foundation, the brand name, the brand slogan, to now building a business plan is going to allow us to take what this AI on Accio is actually creating for us and then develop it further and create something that is going to be meaningful and lastful. Now, the great part about this is that it just needs to be a starting point. It's something that we can iterate off of. We can continue to talk back to this. We can use different tools. We can get different perspectives to then continue to go and build this brand. All right, so as you can see here, we now have our different phases for our 6-month go-to-launch strategy. Number one, pre-launch preparation, 1 to 2 months, finalize product and app developments. We want to complete an MVP. Market research and validation, branding assets, hiring needs, an operations manager, a freelance app developer. Now, you might want to do this by yourself and to do all of this, and that's okay. But again, this is taking an idea and trying to bring it to life with little to no knowledge as to how this type of an audience or this type of a market actually goes into. But what we're trying to do here is show you guys that, without knowing anything about this type of a market, how easy it is to come up and build a plan of how you can take something like this to market. Phase 2, months 3 to 4, build hype via social media. Using social media, Walter's audience, again, Brian mentioned 150,000 followers over Instagram and TikTok, running these teaser posts. And on top of that as well, we can actually use Walter's audience to test this product with them, get feedback on things that they may or may not like. Early bird pre-orders, SEO and content marketing, hiring needs. This does a really good job of just breaking this out. Now, as we continue to go into the business plan, you can see, we might sell this product for $150 to $200, an app subscription. Now we're getting recurring revenue, which is huge for a business as well. Accessories, the great thing with this as well is, with the replacement balls, we can have somebody on a subscription as well. And that way we can have people coming back to us and start creating that reoccurring revenue. Sales projections, market trends, as you can see here, it's pretty powerful what Accio can do. Now it's telling us more about market trends and research, the pet tech boom. The global smart pet tech market will grow 12.3% from 2023 to 2030, driven by demand for interactive toys. We want our pets to be exercised, to be played with, without us necessarily being there. So really, really powerful. It looks like sustainability is really important for pet owners. So how do we make this with recyclable packaging, or potentially incorporate some of those values as we continue to build this product and bring it to market? Some key hires here, giving us projected salaries, things that we want to budget. If I was going and wanting to raise money for this idea, well, I would need to hire maybe potentially some of these people to actually bring into it. And again, some recommended products, replaceable balls, eco-friendly packaging, dog puzzle toys. There's a lot of opportunity for us to then go and actually build this further. Now, we have some ideas here, but I'm gonna see what else, based off of the research that Accio has done for me, what other product ideas can it actually find to me? I'm gonna ask it, I'd like to find 5 other product ideas that I can launch in this brand. You can also put the brand name there. Within the first 2 years of business, please find 5 more products that can be launched within the brand to continue to serve the same target audience. Again, I'm referencing the research that we've done in the previous thread. Consider products that require subscriptions, consumables, and repeat purchases to drive higher lifetime value of customers. That's a big thing that we're always looking for. How much can we pay for a customer? Please also find potential suppliers that I can reach out to for the products that are found. We are looking for products that are in demand and have high profit margins. That's just a quick plug that I wanted to put in there. Now, as this is running, some of the biggest things that I can outline here is that when I built my first brand on Amazon, I needed to do a lot of research. I needed to listen to a lot of my customers, which we still do. And with this new brand, Walter Bolt & Co., we would still want to listen to our customers, but this is now giving us an idea of what exactly we can do in the background to start planning for some of these other products that we can potentially bring to market. Honestly, Accio is making this super easy for me to even conceptualize whether or not this is a good idea for me to actually build and spend the effort in building this brand. All right, so here are some ideas. Number one, again, we're kind of on that tech side. We're trying to include subscriptions, different things like that. So a smart collar with health tracking. Health is super important for dog owners. I can say that. I'm always thinking about those as well. Potential margins. As you can see here, we have some suppliers that we can actually reach out to. And the one thing I love about Accio is that it's actually going to have the ability to connect us to these suppliers as well. The next one is a subscription-based dental chew box. I think this is great because, again, it's subscription-based, and who doesn't want good dental hygiene for their dog? Eco-friendly grooming kit. Now this one here, this is kind of cool because it has biodegradable shampoo bars. Think about, previously when we outlined, the ability to have a brand that is sustainable and a value being important for this target audience that we're going after. You can see why it fits. It's always gonna break that down for us. Potential margin, and then on top of it as well, consumables, right? To drive repeat purchases. Customizable puzzle toy, on-demand dog training app. I think this is awesome as well. This is a great opportunity for us to now diversify from being an only product-based business to now being an app-based business, a software business. So we're not just selling, direct to consumer, but we're now actually having a software element of the business that will allow us to actually build this and grow this even further and talk to more of our actual customers. So at this point in the stage, I'm really happy with this idea because it makes it look like this is attainable and there's an opportunity to build something that's bigger than even the idea of just having an interactive toy machine. I think the ability to now take this, building it into a software company, having different products that have subscription basis, I see life to this. But how do we take this to market? So what we're gonna do now is I'm actually gonna dive in and I'm gonna use this exact same thread and I'm gonna get it to actually build a marketing plan for me and a go-to-market strategy that will allow me to see what do I need to do over the next while to grow this brand into something that's going to count. All right, so I put together this prompt here and it's basically creating a marketing and launch plan that will help me launch my product. Now, this should include the use of Amazon FBA as the forefront because that's where all of our expertise currently is, but also include all relevant social medias along with paid advertising methods to help, include projections for sales as well as budgets. All right, guys, so as you can see here, it's making it so easy for us to basically get rid of that block that a lot of people who are wanting to get started building an Amazon business or any business as a whole, because they don't know where to start, they don't know where to go. As you can see here with Bolt, Walter & Co., we put together a marketing and launch plan to basically launch this and the steps over the next 6 months to be able to do this along with a marketing strategy that comes in between. So, the first thing is you can see in month one to two, Amazon FBA setup, doing listing optimization, getting A+ content. I never told it to do any of this, but because it's a very powerful AI, it's gone and done the research that is required to get me the answers that I'm looking for. Doing all of our back-end keyword research, starting a social media teaser campaign, trying to use Walter's audience to interact and get people to be bought into the product before we even have an idea of what it is, building an email list so that we can launch this product to the email list, launch month, obviously, this is phase 2, which is launch month. We take a little bit of time, obviously, to get here, but, creating PPC campaigns. As you can see, social proof and reviews, paid social ads. What's crazy is that everything that I'm reading here is all stuff that we actually do when building our Amazon business as well. So again, the power of AI now can think through so much of the stuff that us as business owners would actually think through and really match the gap on. Now, I will caution with AI, it's not 100% accurate. As you can see, like in phase 2, it's basically saying that we're gonna be launching in phase 2 here. But the reality is that it's probably gonna take us 3, 4, 5 months of product development, getting the product to Amazon and everything that needs to happen in between that. But again, it's gonna give us the baseline as to where we can actually pivot off of. Here's our budget breakdown: Amazon PPC, social media ads, influencer marketing, email marketing, contingency fund, so on and so forth, 35 grand. Do I have access to that right now? Maybe not, but what are things that I can maybe be a little bit more flexible on? And that way I can kind of get this kick-started right off the bat. Here are some sales projections that we can kind of go after. This may be helpful when you're maybe going to a bank and you're trying to get some financing, whatever it might be. And then it just talks about some other things that might be pertinent for you actually launching this as well. And that's pretty much it, guys. Using a tool like this, Accio, and specifically business research, will allow you to take yourself out of the stage of paralysis by analysis, a stage that us entrepreneurs get stuck in so many times. But I have Brian that comes to me all the time. Sometimes I get a text message in the morning and he has this crazy idea and I get to shut down those ideas because a lot of them are unrealistic. But it's also because the research that is required to do this may not be as feasible and we might be too busy to be able to come up with it. With business research, we now have the ability to get answers for our queries and ideas that we have in the matter of seconds. What I would recommend is using this tool to do exactly that. If you have a new idea and you don't know where to get started, use Accio, use business research, and find ways of how to take these crazy ideas and bring them to market. If you haven't already, make sure to click the link down below to sign up for your free Accio account today. If you're a small or medium-sized business, this is perfect if you're looking for an AI-powered sourcing agent that will allow you to get exactly what you need from a tool like this. And as a reminder, for those who sign up with our link down below, we're going to be giving away 10 whitelisted accounts that will give you access to the actual more premium features, which will give you access to not having any limits as to how often you can actually use Accio. All right, guys, and that is exactly how I would take one of Brian's crazy ideas and bring it to life. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you at the next one.